What's going on, Round Rock, Texas? Welcome to episode 101 of Talking Throws Podcast, Texas Style. I'm Coach Jason.
And I'm Coach Janelle.
And we are Throws coaches with the track club, the Throwing Factory. You can go to that website, thethrowingfactory.com, and check out our bios. Also, to remind everybody, we have options in different locations as far as coaches go. Coach Kai runs west at the Throwing Factory, Coach Jarvis east at the Throwing Factory, and Coach Knight runs Knight Power and Performance all the way out in Abilene. So if you're one of those areas you can't get to us, hopefully we got you covered. If you're a multi-athlete, need javelin training, we can take care of that for you. Weight, hammer, of course, shot and disc, anything you need. But then also, too, we're kind of getting to our off-season as summer track's winding down. So we'll be doing off-season programs as well as far as lifting and anything that you may need in that area. Also, too, remind everybody about our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for the support on the YouTube channel. We're continuously seeing the views go up. Just go to the search Talking Throws Podcast on YouTube and subscribe and give us a like to it, and you'll get those automatic updates every time we publish a show on YouTube. Our season 6 sponsors, without them we can't do what we do. Texas Track and Field Coaches Association. Stuart Cantor just announced that we will be doing the Winter Clinic in 2024. We'll be down in Waco at the Waco Convention Center. So if you have any information, need information on that or anything, please go check that out at the website ttfca.org. Fourthrows.com. Quality implements price right. Go to fourthrows.com. Use the code TalkingThrows10 to get 10% off. Well, also right now, you can really get some very inexpensive discus from ATE for only like $67 and rim weights of 75, and then they have an 83% for basically $80. And then also to remind you, fourthrows.com is also selling throwing shoes as well. Porta-Circle, porta-circle.com, making throwing more accessible. Use Talking Throws 10 to get that 10% off. If you're having bad weather, this is a great implement tool to use, whether it's in your garage, basketball gym, in your dorm, hallway, wherever. Great tool to use. Also, they have hammer inserts as well. Fibersportsdiscus.com. Ran by our guy Bruce Caldwell, Mr. 2, one of the most popular. You can buy these on fourthrows.com as well. Use that code TalkingThrows10 to get 10% off. That website is fibersportsdiscus.com. Also remind everybody too about Ready Up Athletic Development, making programs for you in the greater Austin area. That's ran by Zach Phillips. His cell phone is 512-507-8347. That's readyupad.com. And then also the people that handle all our embroidering, Big Frog's Colleyville, you can go to that website, Colleyville at bigfrog.com. Today's guest on episode 101 is currently living in Round Rock, Texas, married and is a father. He just hit a PB this year of 63.02 and just coming off a 12th place finish at the U.S. Championships in Eugene. In 2021, he made the Olympic trials back in Eugene. From 2012 to 2015, he threw at Texas State, where he holds 4 school records, and he was also a 2-time All-American. He is a 2012 graduate of Killeen, Ellison. Please welcome to episode 101, Talking Throws Podcast, Texas Style, Darian Brown.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Well, man, thanks so much for being on. You've are what we try to do with this podcast. So I'm sorry we're so late to connecting with you, but we're going to get your story out there and maybe hopefully help you get some sponsorships and further your career as a professional. So you just currently came back from the U.S. Championships, right, placing 12th.
Right.
Kind of what was that mindset going into there? Or were you happy with the results? Do you feel like you left more on the table? What was your feeling coming in and then coming out?
Right. It was definitely bittersweet. I was coming off a PR the week before to get into US champs. There was still a lot more there technically that I could have done just to even get the PR. So there was a lot of excitement heading into US champs. The execution just wasn't there. I mean, my body felt like I was ready to go. It's just within the 3 throws, just didn't get it done. And that happens. However, that is the best performance I had in a US championship. So there is something to take home at that point. And so, we're just preparing for next year. We're really excited, heading in the right direction. And yeah, we're looking forward to it.
So the goal is to try to make the Olympics in 2024.
Correct.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Now, my mind just went blank. What's the qualifying standard for the Olympics?
World standard is 67:20, heading into into the 2024 season, or top 32 in the world.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In the world. Okay, and I just saw something. I think you're like in the 80s, I believe.
Yep. With the PR, I think that put me right in the 80 range for world ranking. Top list 48, world ranking 80. And so we just need to start building consistency in that range where I hit my PR, and then that ranking should get into the top 32.
Wow, nice. So you're trying to be a professional thrower, make the Olympics. It's my understanding you're also married and a father of a young one as well, and working.
Yeah. You're busy.
Yeah, busy. Definitely just balancing all different phases, but it's all been exciting.
Oh, wow. How old's your little one?
2.5. He turns 3 in September. So.
Oh, wow.
That's a fun age. They're busy at that age.
Yeah. It's tough to keep up with them.
Busy is the right word, right?
Boy or girl?
Boy.
Okay. Boy. Awesome. So, and was your wife your college sweetheart?
Yeah. So, she actually went to Texas State as well. She was a thrower. She held 3 school records by the time she left in the hammer, disc, and weight. And then Alyssa Wilson actually came in as of 2 years ago and broke all her records. So we have a lot of back and forth, just kind of teasing each other about all of it. But John Frazier's done a great job at Texas State as of late.
What was your wife's maiden name?
Julie Lang, L-A-N-G.
I know her. Well, she wouldn't know me. She was there when my daughter went on when did she graduate from Texas State?
She graduated 2017.
Okay, that name is very familiar. My daughter went to SFA and went on a recruiting trip to Texas State, and I'm pretty sure Julie was her host or something like that. She really liked it. But ended up going to SFA. Yes, I bet if I'll Google a picture here in a minute, I'll be like, yes, that's her. A small world.
We should have had y'all both on and had our first married couple on there as well.
Our second.
Oh, because Chris and Chandler. Yeah. Well, nice. So your little one's going to have to be a thrower then.
We're definitely going to let him touch the a little bit. He was actually watching the U.S. championships, and he'll pick up a soccer ball and try to throw it like a shot put. And so he's already picking things up. It's kind of crazy how that works, but it's an exciting
That's funny. Now, you also have a full-time job as well. And that's, what do you do on that?
So I'm a VP of talent engagement. I work for a technical startup out in Sydney, Australia. It's been an awesome journey in the technical recruiting realm. I actually started that job in 2016, 2017 when I left the sport initially from an injury. And I think it was a blessing to kind of send me on that journey to get my career kicked off to where I don't necessarily have to worry about the financial ends of things now that I'm back in the sport. So.
Wow. So are you doing most of your work from home then? So you have the flexibility to train every afternoon?
Right. Yeah. That's what helps. I work fully remote. I work my own hours, as long as I'm getting everything done that needs to get done. My boss has always been very flexible with me. And so I'm able to train during my lunchtime and still be present after work from whenever my son gets done with daycare, because my wife's in school as well. So, whenever we're done, we're all engaged, probably around 5:00 until little man needs to go to bed. But,
wow. Awesome. So you're in Round Rock, right? Aren't y'all living in?
Yeah. Just north of Round Rock, a small town called Gerald. Small town called Gerald, just north of there. My wife's in PT school at Texas State, Round Rock, for physical therapy. And so that's what brought us back to Texas from Kansas.
Wow. Okay. So are you using Gerald High School as your training facility?
Yep, using Gerald High School as training. And they let me coach their kids during the season as long as I'm able to volunteer there. They let me have full access to the facility. They've been extremely gracious. So
wow.
That's awesome.
Now, what has that experience been like?
Yeah, the coaching.
yeah. I did private coaching on the side before, but to coach a whole group of athletes, there's definitely a patience aspect to it, to get them all dialed in. But there are some pretty promising athletes that you get excited about as they're continuing to grow, freshman and sophomore, that I'm excited to see by their senior year what they become. So
awesome. Now, Gerald, they're 2A, right?
I think they're 4A now. This area, Austin has come up north.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. So is the sector big enough at Gerald High for it to hold 67 meters?
It's surprising. They actually put together 3 different rings in different directions, and they have all the field that you can need. And it's actually a pretty awesome setup. I don't think how special that setup is, but it's pretty nice.
Wow. We're spoiled. I see some people on Instagram and on Twitter, and you see some of the rings up north. And you're like, how are y'all throwing in that? And then, you go to our junior high here in Texas, and some of them will be bad, but then you go to some of them and they got 3 cages and 3 shot put rings, and it's the top, and nobody throws.
Football is definitely king down here, but they do what they need to. And then you love the year-long training that we have. There's no snow that we have to worry about or any specific weather changes.
Other than being really hot.
For sure. So what's next for you as far as meet wise?
Yeah, so I'm getting ready for next year. I decided to just get an early start. Right now we're doing training, rebuilding the base, getting healthy. This past year I was handling a pec injury for the majority of the year. And so kind of working out the kinks there. And then I should be opening up next year around March or April, and some local spots. And then, of course, the goal is once we start to get into the meat of the year, around April, May time, start getting into some of those rank comps where they're weighted a little bit more to try to raise my world ranking.
Wow. So is Coach Ott, Nathan Ott, who coached you in college, is he still supervising your training, or do you have somebody else?
Yeah, still work with him. I work with him remotely. He actually coached me in 2014 for 1 year, and then we reconnected in 2018 in Kansas State. And then once my wife got into school, or I trained with him for 3 years, or we did. She actually trained post-collegiately in the shot put as well. And then once we moved back to Texas, we just connect remotely. And so he's in Austin now, but he's done a really good job of communicating with me on where we need to be and what we need to work on. So
wow. Now he's at Penn State now, right? I believe so.
Right.
Yeah, he's in Happy Valley. He's been all over. He's a big name thrower as our coach as well.
Yeah. It's been exciting to kind of see him work up the ranks. Again, he coached me in the beginning of his career, and just to, we always knew how good of a coach he was. The rest of the NCAA did. Yeah. And so once he started racking up athletes and you really started to see them progress, it's exciting to see his career take the journey it has.
Yeah. Now he works with Brooke Anderson, I believe, as well, too.
Yeah. He has Brooke Anderson. He has a group out there. Sean Donnelly's out there now. We have Stamatias Garvelis from we have Nyoka from Jamaica. He has a whole group of hammer throwers out there.
Oh, wow. But you're the one discus thrower.
Yeah, I always tell them, I was like, people don't know that you're truly a discus coach just with hammer athletes. For sure. Well, we'll have to. I hope he listens to this, because I would love to have him on, because I'm a big fan and I followed his career and stuff. So since he was a coach at Texas State or Southwest Texas back in the day, we would love to have him on. And speaking of that too, what's some cues that he's worked with you? Because I bring that up now because your throwing career has really evolved, but it seems like you finally kind of hitting your stride after you graduated. So I'm guessing technically there's been a lot of growth from maybe your senior year, last year of college to what you do now. Yeah. So a lot of stretching to specific positions. We're real big on rhythm throwing and making sure that we have tension throughout the whole throw. As far as where our training was at, I threw all three events in college. So hammer, shot, discus, and in shot put, we had to be a little bit more heavier. And so
Yeah.
this past year, I think we found a lot of success on dropping weight to become a little bit more dynamic. And then it also kind of helped from a overall health standpoint in terms of keeping me healthy, no soft tissue injuries during the season, et cetera. And then with me being more dynamic through the ring, it was able to help me execute those cues a little bit more effectively as well.
Wow. So how much are you weighing now?
I'm probably around 255, 260. And then
wow.
when I was in college, I was probably sitting around 285, 290. So
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we had about a 30-pound drop.
Yeah. Can I ask how tall you are?
6'1", 6'1" on a
6'1"-ish.
We'll give you 6'1.5" for our listeners. So you're not length compared to, I don't want to say Mason Finley, but some of the bigger guys or anything like that. So, that tension through the throw, but also probably the speed through the ring is very important for you as well.
Of course. Yeah. It's what the focus is for us. We can't slow down on the finish or, emphasize being long, but we need to be able to have a rhythm to move through the disc, through the finish.
Wow. Awesome. Well, great. We wish you the best as far as throwing, getting into your college career. Man, what a tremendous career you had at Texas State. 4 school records, 2-time All-American. Just which was your favorite event at 290 pounds?
It was always funny. Discus has always been my favorite. And then in college, I probably had the least amount of accolades aside from the All-American. Never held the school record or things of that sort. The hammer was always pushed upon me. I had a few hammer coaches in college. And so they all tried to push the hammer to me. And, hammer was what I liked the least. I don't know what it was about it, but they always try to motivate me to throw the hammer, but discus is just what I always gravitated to. And then shot put was always fun when you threw far, but when you're not, you feel every bit of that 16 pounds. So
yeah. And so did you come to Texas State as a glider or rotational for shot put?
I was a glider.
Were you really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
so what was that transition from being a glider into rotation?
Yeah, so all of fall training, I was gliding. I definitely fought the idea of switching over to rotation. The coach I had at the time was Greg Watson, and he really had to ease me in. Pretty much just kind of made a point one practice. He told me to take 2 rotation throws, 1 glide, and I kept fighting it until my spin that same day beat my glide. And he said, all right, well, we're wasting our time here. There's more potential in the rotation. So after that, it was an easy buy-in. So.
Oh, wow. So Coach Watson, did he coach you your freshman and sophomore year?
Yep. I had Greg Watson my freshman and sophomore, and then Nathan Ott my junior.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You've been very blessed with some big names.
Yeah. The mid-major spot has always been a rotating chair, just because whenever a good coach comes in, people are always trying to pick out of that. But I've been blessed with some of the best coaches to come out of that.
Wow. Was that so that transition from the glide to shot put, but you even mask it with the bigger shot put with the 12-pound?
Right.
I mean, excuse me, the 16. I'm sorry, 16. No. Did that kind of, because it was difficult because you were like polished your freshman and sophomore year, freshman of the year. You had some good marks coming into your freshman and sophomore year.
Yeah, there was a lot to build on, a lot of potential there. We knew that. In high school, I didn't necessarily have those specific accolades. And so there wasn't anything to unlearn, or there was no, reinventing the wheel. We just needed to invent it, just to start from scratch. And so it was an easier buy-in, easier program change for me to go into a collegiate program and progress. And with that, I mean, we took off. There was a lot of potential there in the rotation for the shot, and then that transferred over pretty well to the discus as well. So,
wow. What was your major at Texas State? I keep on
I
saying
was-
Southwest Texas.
Right. I was health and fitness management and then minor in business administration.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So originally I was going to go the coaching route, and then I ended up switching over to the business side.
Oh, wow. Wow. Cool. So what was your introduction to hammer? You know, because dude, everything was developing. You're learning rotational shot put. You know,
16.
I'm sure Watson was like, we're going to try hammer first because I think I know how he thinks. So you were walking into San Marcos as a hammer thrower before a rotational shot putter.
Right. Yeah. I definitely fought him and I on every bit of the way. It was just an ongoing joke. You know, they kept telling me I was a hammer thrower, or Greg certainly did. He kind of finagled my mind to buying into the process a little bit differently, but you know, I always wanted my discus to beat my hammer. But they did have me throwing hammer my freshman and sophomore year, probably about 4 days a week. And then I made a bet with Odd, coincidentally. He told me if I broke the school record in the disc, I wouldn't have to throw it again until conference. And so I just made it my life goal at that point in time, just to get it done so I can just maybe throw it
the hammer. That's funny.
Wow. I want to bring up too that, man, your sophomore year, you were the WAC field athlete of the year for that honor.
Mm-hmm.
And we hadn't even got into your high school career, and I'll go and ask, did you walk on to Texas State, or was there a scholarship opportunity? I'm guessing you had to prove yourself mentality.
Yeah. So I was a scholarship athlete, you know.
Okay.
It was a blessing to reach out, especially my marks weren't that stellar coming out of high school. But I definitely sold myself to quite a few coaches, and the coach that was there at the time, his name was James Parman. He was the one that recruited me, and you know, he bought into my ability and kind of saw the potential. And, you know, he was able to give me money to end up going there. When I came in, though, you know, it was quickly realized that everyone around me had been to state, or they'd been in some capacity, you know, a national, state record holder, school record holder of some sort. And when I didn't have that, there was definitely a chip on my shoulder. I knew that if I found someone that knew enough about the sport, I can get to where I need to get to. And so, you know, my entire college experience was just proof of that, right? And then just being bought in on that whole thought process.
Wow. So do you remember your freshman year, April 21st, at the Michael Johnson Dr. Pepper Classic, what you threw in the hammer?
65?
You got second place. It was 173, basically 174.
174, okay.
So I just bring that up for someone who was fighting to throwing the hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't want to throw the hammer.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's funny to look back on, but yeah, there was just something about the discus that I loved. And I think the whole focus was that they wanted to slow down the discus and make me throw hammer more. And I just didn't want to convert, but
yeah. Now, did you do training in high school for the 2K and the 16-pound preparing to come into college?
No, not at all. It was just me throwing just the 12-pound and the 1.6. I think I did summer track all the way up to my senior year, but once we knew we were going to Texas State, it was just making sure that my lifting was going to be able to convert over, and we were just loading up from that perspective.
Gotcha. And then going into your senior year, you make it to the West Regions. Mm-hmm. That had to be a pretty cool experience. You made it also I want to point out the fact, I think you made it to indoor in the hammer as well, right? Or the weight, excuse me.
Yeah. Sophomore year of college. Yeah, it was it was an experience. Definitely the way the hammer, I loved it, but yeah, it was an experience to actually be able to get that done. And I think that was the first school record to fall for me at that specific conference meet. So
wow. So was the mentality just grip and rip it?
So we had some pretty big training days heading up to that meet. You know, we threw in New Mexico, and if you know Albuquerque, New Mexico, they kind of had a painted surface, and so it was a little bigger. It wasn't a matter of if it was going to happen, it was when. It was just being determined to make sure that it happened, and it couldn't have happened at a better moment for me.
Wow.
the Texas Track and Field Coaches Association, coaches education through our annual Winter Clinic, the state's #1 track and field clinic, Texas Track and Field Promotion, our postseason Meet of Champions, lobbying efforts with the state's governing bodies, the Texas Track and Field Hall of Fame. If it involves Texas Track and Field, we're at the forefront. Join our mission in continuing to make Texas Track and Field the nation's best.
Wow. You know, in my training and talking with other coaches and stuff too, I don't know if you've ever put 2 and 2 together in this, but I know a lot of coaches who implement weight and hammer for rotational shot put and discus throwers real heavy, especially in our off season. And what happens is we see their rotational shot put marks go up and their discus marks go up. So I'm just sitting here listening to you talk, and I'm thinking, wonder if there was some of Watson or Ott saying, okay, we're going to make this really difficult for rotational movements, but hopefully with the application and shot and disc, which may be going to be his best event, those numbers are going to go up.
That was definitely something that they mentioned. And, that was a big buy-in on that process as well. I also saw quite a few discus throwers throw the weight pretty far. So I did think that there was something involved with the separation or kinetic chain to be able to, hit the throw pretty far, and then it converts pretty well to the discus. So all that being said, I was pretty bought into that.
Wow. So what kind of weight program were they introducing you to there as you're going through each year?
A weight room into the weight room or the weight room?
Yeah. Like what kind of training were you doing? Were you lifting 3 to 4 days a week? Because I'm just guessing that wasn't what you were doing when you were coming out of high school.
Right. No, it was 4 days a week lifting at the time, and then 5 days a week throwing. In college, and then now I'm at 2 days lifting a week, and then 5 days throwing. So
Wow.
Every coach I've had in college did 4 days a week lifting. So
wow! But now you're cutting back to basically keep that weight down.
Right. Well, yeah, the modified block it definitely works. They get the full body exercises in each day. So you're definitely hurting by the end of the day for sure. But it's just the way that Ott has his program to set up for a modified block, so you're able to set up for each week and make sure that you're ready to compete, especially when it comes around.
Wow, awesome. So when did you meet your wife during the years at Texas State?
Yeah, she came in summer of my sophomore year, heading into junior year. So she was 2 years younger than me. She went there all 4 years as well. Big chip on her shoulder as well. We had quite a few back and forth in college, but it was all fun and games.
Was it love at first sight? Did you were like, ooh, I like how you put chalk on your hands?
Definitely liked her. We actually did not get along initially.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we had to get around to getting along maybe towards the end of my senior year, and then we took off from there. But early on, we were at each other's necks a little bit.
Oh,
that's funny.
Were you on this same training group?
Yeah, we all trained together. So
okay,
we were around each other all the time. There's definitely a competitive nature to it, and it was pretty awesome.
Wow. Now there's a tradition at Texas State, and I just found this out, where you jump in the river.
Mm-hmm. When you graduate.
Yeah, when you graduate. Did you do that? And is it cold?
So it was actually thunderstorming when I graduated, and I saw lightning probably not too far away. So I just thought I didn't want to risk it. I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll jump in a week later and just say I did. It never happened.
It never happened, huh? What's the name of that river they jump in?
Sewell Park is where, Sewell Park is where it is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I just saw a whole bunch of stuff on social media where, a whole bunch of people was jumping in.
It's the thing.
Yeah.
To do.
So tremendous career at Texas State. You're always on the edge of proving yourself. Let's go back to your high school career. But first, let's bridge the gap. How did Texas State find you, and what was your recruitment like? Because you said earlier too that you kind of reached out to a lot of coaches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was a dual sport athlete in high school. My parents always told me to look at track just as much as football at the time. And, you never wanted to put your eggs in one basket. And when it came to the point in time where I wanted the quality of the school, track was probably the best route to take it. Although my marks weren't that great, I wanted to put my best foot forward. And so I think I just kind of went on a frenzy where I just started emailing every coach my name, numbers, and really just started to sell myself in the process. And I think initially I kind of just started setting my heights a little bit less unbelievable. I started stacking Power 5, hitting LSU and some of the bigger schools. And at the time I was only throwing 160 feet. So a lot of them didn't even get back to me at that point in time. But of course, I went for some of the more of the mid majors as well, with Texas State on that list. And I showed my weight room numbers as well. I knew my weight room numbers were a little bit more impressive than my throws.
Okay.
And then, of course, James Parman was the coach that reached back out to me, wanted to set up a conversation and bring me in on an official visit. He didn't want to waste any time. I was surprised that it happened. And, I was also blessed to have a coach in high school that didn't necessarily know the sport, but he was extremely talkative. And so what I heard on the back end was that he talked Parman's head off, but it was all positive things about me, and it helped bring it home. So.
Oh, wow. Who was that coach?
Ricky Colson was his name.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. So he was selling you on the back end.
Yeah. They called in to ask a little bit about me and my personality. And anyone knows at the time at Ellison, the high school I went to, that if you talk to Ricky, you're probably going to be talking to him for quite a long time. But, if he's talking good about you, maybe James Parman thought, if he can say this much good stuff about him, maybe I need to bring him in on the visit. But that's
wow.
You need to meet this kid.
Now, was he your throws coach, or was he the head track coach?
Yeah, he was just the head track coach that they reached out to. My personal throws coach was, or my high school throws coach was Preston Meyer, and he did a really good job. It's just he wasn't the one that Parman got a hold of. I'm sure he would have said some pretty good things as well.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So did you have any opportunity to do any other visits at any other schools?
So I had a conversation with A&M, but at the time they signed Dalton Rowan, and he was the guy that was going to state. He was in the West region with me and consistently beat me and a few other guys out. And so the conversation around that wasn't enough money for me to really consider or afford to make that happen. And so the only thing I could really do at that point was maybe leverage that a little bit for Texas State. But Texas State, they didn't really hesitate to or bargain. It was actually an unbelievable process where they brought me in on an official. They let me know how much money they could offer me, and they just did. And to this day, I have no idea how that could have happened. I just kind of accept the blessing and keep it moving. But it's been pretty awesome.
Wow. What advice would you give our listeners and some of our male listeners to kind of maybe that are hesitant to do what you did because maybe they're worried about rejection or they don't feel like they're good enough? What advice would you give them? And the reason I say that is because that's what kids that we coach every day or kids that we get calls about, that's what they face is I'm playing football. I'm okay football player, but I love to throw, but I don't have the numbers to be a scholarship at, Texas or A&M or Houston or LSU.
It's a common misconception. Every kid wants, letters or conversations to start from the coach. But the truth is, if you just look at it from their perspective, they're one person and they have a whole lot of kids to look at throughout the nation. If you put yourself at the front by engaging in conversation with them, you did half of their job for them, right?
Wow.
Being intentional really puts you in the forefront of a lot of conversation, not just in the recruiting process for college, but, future jobs, et cetera, as well, just to make sure that you're being as intentional as possible and letting them know that you are interested. This is the potential that you have, and you're really the one that initiates that conversation. So you're the one that controls that narrative. So you really do yourself more of a benefit than not by, being active rather than waiting.
Gotcha. Great point. So I'm sitting here looking at your senior year numbers, man, and they were solid with what you were doing. Jesuit, you went to Texas Relays. That had to be a cool experience for you.
Yeah. To compete against some of the best guys. I came up in a time where, Instagram and some of the social media platforms weren't there. So we didn't really know what was out there until you went to a big meet. And Dallas Jesuit and Texas Relays allowed me to see how much more work I had to do, because I certainly didn't come in the best. And so, it kept me level headed for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, going back to your freshman year, let's back it up a little bit. When did you get started into throwing? And also, too, you didn't tell us what position you played in football either.
Yeah. So football, I was tight end. I was a tight end in football.
Okay.
And so I did that for all 4 years. As far as track and field is concerned, so my stepmom's two sisters got athletic scholarships doing throwing. They threw out in Gulf Wade, Texas. They were disc shot put people. One went to Abilene Christian, was coached under Cliff, who's now at Tech.
Yeah.
To San Angelo. So they saw the success that can kind of come from, investing yourself in track and field. And so my stepmom was probably the person that always honed in on telling me, you're not just going to do off season for whatever football, basketball, even out of middle school, you're going to do track and field. And initially, I think I didn't necessarily want to, or I didn't really know much about the shot put and disc, but I became bought in. There was it honestly started in middle school. I was probably winning just about every meet until I went to go see one competition I was throwing against a guy named Michael Cummings. He ended up playing quarterback at KU. He came out of Killeen High School, and the kid had been throwing summer track, and I think he was throwing 150 feet out of high school, and the rest of us were only throwing 100. And so, when you get your butt whooped like that, you need to figure out what you're doing wrong. And I think that just kind of triggered some competition in me to really figure it out. And once they told me summer track was how he got good, I went to my parents and said, we're doing it.
Oh, wow. So did you throw unattached, or did y'all join a club, or, like Central Texas Club or something?
Yeah. So initially we joined a club. I think we just found it more beneficial just for me and my dad to get out there and throw. And although he didn't know much about the sport, we just knew how to work hard. And so, we go out there and put together, 80 to 100 throws a day in the discus, and then maybe around 30, 40 in the shot. And we just got good with what we thought we knew, and it worked out. So.
Wow. Then did you go to the national meets and some of that stuff as well?
Yeah. So summer track, we had TAF, the Texas Amateur Athletic Federation. So I went to state. I won state my 7th grade year. I went 144 feet that summer. So
wow.
I threw 101. Mike Cummins beat me, found out what he did summer track, came back for him. And then 8th grade year, I didn't necessarily win, but I think I was close. And then I did AAU for 1 year. And then I went out to nationals in Detroit, Michigan. I want to say that was a while ago, 2008.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So what you said your dad helped you. So was he an athlete? You said he may not know much about throwing, but was he an athlete? Did he have a background in that?
Yeah. He was a really good football player out of South Carolina. Played running back and nose guard on the defensive side. Short, stout guy, real powerful legs, and he's just one of those people that he doesn't get tired. And then even as he got older, he was sitting there at 45 years old, still running a 4.5 40, which was incredibly impressive. Yeah. He's a freak athlete that also knows how to work hard. It's just opportunities didn't necessarily see him go to college and continue that path. So he wanted to make sure he passed that down.
Wow. So was there being in Killeen, was there association with the military? Was he in the military or?
Both my parents were school district. So he actually was a HVAC tech for the school district, and my stepmom was a history teacher and worked her way up to being a principal.
Oh, wow. I got to ask this now. So do you know Sion Hicks?
Yeah, I know Sion very well. She's actually out at Shoemaker High School right now.
Yeah, we had her on.
Yeah, but same story. And so I'm guessing with the age, she was probably right around when you were maybe a senior. She might have been a little younger, I'm thinking.
Yeah, she was a sophomore when I was a senior, and she was really good at that point in time as well.
Wow. And of course, too, I'm guessing you know the name Mike Stoltz as well.
Mike Stoltz.
threw at A&M, 1994 gold medalist in the shot put.
The name
84.
sounds familiar. I can't.
Yeah, he was from Killeen. He from
Okay.
Killeen, Ellison. Yeah.
Awesome.
So if you Google Mike Stoltz and Randy Barnes, Texas A&M, you're going to see these
Right.
crazy videos of him power cleaning 405 with basically the tightest jogging pants on you've ever seen in your entire life. And so, yeah, but point being, man, there's been some great throwers come out of Killeen, Texas.
Yeah.
A lot. There's a strong history of great throwers coming out of Killeen, Texas, for sure. So
yeah, the strong athletes, and I think the biggest goal is to make sure that we keep pushing track and field in that area, so it continues to pump out the athletes and the pros in particular.
For sure. So, does your wife still throw? Does she come out with you during practice and say, "Hey, let me show you how to do this"?
She tries every once in a while. So when she was pregnant with our little one, and we had our little one, she tried to come back. I think that it was just a little bit more difficult for her to. It was a little bit more stress on the court at that point in time, and she just maybe came back too quick. So she took a step back. She actually picked up Olympic weightlifting, so now she's doing snatch and clean and jerk, and she's actually fairly competitive in that.
Not bad.
Wow, what weight class?
Kilos, I'm not sure. I want to say, what is it, 177?
Wow.
Yeah. She's awesome. We saw her. She needs to compete, or she's going to be competing in August out at Garage Strength out in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Bill is actually her coach.
Really?
Yeah. And so right now, from the training videos I've seen and from what I've seen from her, she's cleaned 120 kilos and then snatched upward toward 90 to 100. And so I'm ready to see her kind of piece it together and see how she ranks up.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah. She's impressive. I'll have to humbly say I think she's a better athlete out of the two of us, but
That's awesome to say, huh?
Well, I was actually going to say, is she stronger than you?
Oh man, she was definitely she was definitely the one, because the guys and girls were combined. She'd always look at what the guys were doing, smile at them, and just walk up next to them and do it.
Yeah.
But no, I never gave her that benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. So you mentioned Garage Strength. So do you still keep up with? And that's another clean guy that I just missed, Timon Johnson. Do you still keep up with Timon?
Yeah, he's awesome. I actually saw him a few times this year at some of the meets that we went to. We fly out and kind of meet up. We're actually looking to probably do a camp this summer in Killeen, in February in Killeen.
Really?
Yeah, just to make sure that we're still kind of putting the awareness in that area in track and field, and really try to, again, bring some of those athletes to track and field that just think that, football or basketball is the only way. Right.
Yeah.
But no, Timon's awesome. I've known him since he's probably 7 years old. Our parents were all working in the school district together.
Yeah.
We reconnected when he was in high school, and he was kind of going through the same route where, he was a little hesitant on football, but track was there, and I was able to kind of gear him in that direction in track and field.
So you're older than him?
Yes, by 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
Okay. So you were just leaving Texas State when he was going there as a freshman then, right? Or you were senior?
Right. Yeah, my senior year was his recruiting year. So I was his host on the visit and got to show him around and yeah.
Wow. And that's really cool, because he's been a name for himself, just kind of being with Garage Strength and what he's doing. And I can see both of you just kind of doing the same thing and following that same path, man. What my heart goes out to both of you for what y'all are doing. Just amazing.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's been amazing to see him. He's always been extremely resourceful. You can tell that his head was always in it, and I always had high hopes for him. And then I was actually there when he ended up breaking my outdoor school record. Sad to see it go down, but I just know he hit the throw, hugged some people, and then he looked directly at me like, all right. That just happened, right? And I was like, I got it.
Well, dude, he wasn't the discus thrower you were, or the hammer thrower either. So
no, Yeah, I can live on that side of the spectrum, but yeah, no, he's an awesome shot putter.
Do you keep training logs of your, like a diary of your training?
Yep. Yep. I have since 2018. In college, my coaches took care of it, and then again, I retired for about 2 years, and then picked it back up. And we kept it throughout each training cycle.
Wow. What drove you to come out of that retirement 2 years later?
Yeah, I'm in a corporate environment, and life is good in that spectrum. At the time, I was engaged to my wife, and going to work, everything day to day seemed all right. But I felt like, one, I was the youngest person in the office. I felt like I was on the right track. And I told myself, I'm in the prime of my life. Physically, I had a traumatic injury that we thought was career ending. But maybe there's still more to get to the sport. And I ended up eventually I tried to get it up off the ground myself. And then I ended up going to Ott, and Ott said, I don't know why you didn't come to me sooner. Let's move you out to K-State. And so literally once me and my wife, Julie, got married, we probably 2 weeks later, we took the drive to Kansas State to go live there for the next 3 years and fully bought in on that process. And I'm extremely glad I did. I think 63 right now, if everything were to end today, 63 sounds a lot better than 58 from college. And so it's been a blessing.
Yeah. What was that experience like to move to Manhattan? And when you were like, okay, I am all in, because, moving your family up there is like, all right, all eggs in this basket, no turning back.
Yeah. It was, I think there was a lot of people around us, a lot of family that, were like, all right, you guys can do this, but you can see that they were fairly nervous. And, for me, it felt like we were embarking on a journey that we were both fairly confident in, blindly confident, but and didn't know how it was going to happen, but we just knew that it was going to work out. And so, moving out there again, Ott has been by far not only the best coach, but even one of my best friends. My wife got pregnant out there, and he had 2 kids of his own, and him and his wife kind of brought us in, and they were able to give us some of the things that they had left over from their sons. And literally, if we had any trouble, to give them a phone call. And I think that even increased me and Ott's bond even more during that time. So I could not have fell into a better situation by going out there to K-State with Ott, because he was really one of those coaches that were going to looked after me and looked after us. So.
Oh, wow. Almost like a little father figure, almost a little bit.
Yeah. Father away from home.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, man, dude, keep living the dream, man. Don't let nobody get in your way. Don't let anybody tell you no. Any obstacles that you come across, knock them down. Knock them down, man.
That's the goal.
So, sponsorships, are you working on those? Are you in negotiation with anybody kind of helping you out or anything?
No, currently unsponsored.
Okay.
Honestly, haven't even reached out or tried in that regard. If a conversation starts, great. But I made sure that my life is suited around me to where I don't necessarily feel dependent on that. And, I've been blessed in that regard. So I'm a little bit passive in that, but that doesn't mean I'm shutting down conversations, right? I'll entertain anything.
And man, just go continue to do what you do, live that dream, and be a good dad. And
chase that toddler around.
I know.
With having, Cassius, our son, is his name. Him actually being present while I'm still doing this as actually, he gets to see me living out my dream and being active in that. And in terms of a leadership role, there's no better feeling in that regard,
And seeing mama go out and do her lifting too.
Yeah.
He's got.
Yeah, you should see him with the PVC pipe. He doesn't already know how to clean and jerk and snatch. He's he's impressive. And
we'll keep it up. We hope you get that 64 meters and make the Olympics, man. So thank you so much, man. God bless you. We got an open line of communication. If you ever need anything from us, let us know, okay?
All right. Thank you. All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
We'd like to thank Darian for being on. We do the podcast just for people like for him. Just not a big name thrower coming out of high school, not heavily recruited, not a state champion, but what's inside of you. You just kind of make it happen, and that determination and living a dream. And if anybody listens to our show, that's what we want to instill in them, is regardless of what you're doing right now, it's kind of where you end up. And this guy didn't make it to state. Was heavily recruited.
Wasn't an NCAA
champion.
He wasn't.
But now he's chasing his dream, and he's kind of grown up through it. And he's probably considered one of the top. He made the championship. He's finished top 12, and just this year in 2023. So to even qualify is one thing, but to even get in there and compete and make top 12 is. And keep in mind too, there wasn't just 12. He was there competing, his ass off to be successful. And I'm sure next year in 2024, he's going to be able to, turn it up. And I can see him definitely making the trials. Crap. And I forgot to bring up that he made the trials too. So, I've got to bring that up as well. So, so just, it goes to show you, if you have a dream and you write it down and you believe in yourself, you can go out and achieve it.
Yeah. Well, I love how he talks about the college recruiting. He had to put himself out there. Colleges are not going to come hunt you down if you're not a state champion or anything like that. You got to get into their world.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys, we want to thank our sponsors for season 6 and our 101st episode. Texas Track and Field Coach Association. Go to ttfca.org to get all of the latest information about track season. As we mentioned at the beginning, the winter clinic and things February. So though you may think track is over, it's really not. This goes on forever, all the time. Implements, porthrows.com. Get your quality implements priced right. Use the code TalkingThrows10 to get 10% off. Porta Circle, porta-circle.com. Use the code TalkingThrows10. Those Porta Circles are great. You need one for lots of training, hot, cold, whatever. If you're in the Austin area, go to Ready Up 80.
Where it's hot and cold, put a Porta Circle.
Or cold. It's hot. You
outside. If it's
Yes, they knew what I meant.
Okay.
Ready Up AD. If you're in the Austin area, reach out to Zach Phillips and look up his on Train Heroic, his basic growth strength program. Use that code use code GROWS10 to get 20% off. It'd probably be something great to do at the off season if you're not a football player or volleyball player for a girl right now. Get that program going to get you set up for next season. And then Big Frogs Colleyville. Thank them for all of our printing needs. And
hello, Talking Throws Texas podcasters. I'm Bruce Caldwell. I'm here today to introduce the Fiber Sport Discus. Yes, many of you thought I only made great vaulting poles. I have been bringing quality discuses to the throwers' hands for over 40 years. First as Cantabrian USA representative, then for the past 10 years as the Nelco discus distributor. I introduced the yellow-plated discus for the plastic's best durability. If your Fiber Sport discus breaks, we replace it. Our studies have reached into the science of using a wind tunnel and adding microchips to the discus to find the spin, the gravity, the flight stability of the discus. We have found it's not about rim weight anymore. It's more about creating a balanced stability to allow the discus to fly and surf the wind. Our new Fiber Sport discus is made to be selected to fit your needs, no matter the weather, no matter the conditions. Check out our discus selection guide at fibersportdiscus.com and find a dealer in your area that sells our fine product. Thank you, Jason Janelle, for allowing me to talk with your listeners on Talk and Throws Texas Style.
And the Throwing Factory.
Yes, and then remind everybody about Lifting DFW. If you need a program, because we're getting into that off-season workout, we can set up a program for you. If your mom or dad needs personal lessons, reach out to us. My information is on the website at thornfactory.com. And again, remind everybody about the YouTube channel. Just search it, Talking Throws Podcast Texas Style, and give us that thumbs up and subscribe to it, please. You'll get the automatic updates every time we post one on there. So thank y'all so much. See y'all down the road.